Welcome to the Spiritualpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Christian, aka Love Pixel. And in each episode, we sit down with spiritual entrepreneurs sharing their knowledge, wisdom, and tools on their path to authentic success. Let's dive in. What is up, beautiful people? This is Christian from the Successful Spiritualpreneur Podcast. And today I'm very honored and excited to have Marie Diamond on the podcast. She's a globally recognized Feng Shui master, best-selling author, and transformational teacher featured in The Secret. With over 30 years of experience, she has guided millions in the areas of manifestation, meditation, Feng Shui, dowsing, and conscious leadership. As the star of her own TV show, Feng Shui Your Life, and the mentor to top executives, celebrities, and thought leaders, Marie's impact spans across industries and continents. With more than 2 million online students, Marie has helped individuals unlock success, harmony, and abundance by aligning their environment with their intentions. Welcome to the show, Marie.
Thank you so much, Christian, for having me. I'm so excited.
It's such an honor to have you on, and um, I saw you live once back in LA. It was a couple of years ago with of the Mind Valley,
Mindful in
was it the Mind Valley
2019. Yes.
community event. Yes, I was there, and I was like, wow, she's like the Mother Teresa of personal development. You know,
Well, that's too big a name, an honor.
I
But
really
thank
I
you for that. Yeah.
love the energy, the beauty, the authenticity you bring to the space, Marie. I think it's a very rare to find someone like yourself to lead the space with such heart. And I think that is what people will always resonate with. And
Mm.
um, yeah, that is, I think, where we also go collectively as humanity, you know?
Yes.
So if you can speak on that a little bit, where we go collectively,
Mm.
why authenticity, why this like feminine side of humanity, which ultimately feng shui is the balance of both masculine and feminine,
Yeah.
why that is coming so apparent now in this time and
Yeah.
age.
Well, when we look at from a feng shui perspective, it was an energy system that is not just only focusing on your home, but also about how the flow of energy is in society. We actually just started a new cycle of energy. We call it the period of fire. And it started on February 4th, 2024 for the next 20 years. And fire, the element fire, is really about following your purpose, following your passion, the fire within you. And
Mhm.
so I do believe when people connecting with the fire within them, what they're passionate about, they're always showing up authentically. They are not holding back. They are completely in that fire of their heart, the fire of their being, and they're showing that and bringing this forward even into business. So I do believe it's only starting right now. Now, fire also means that sometimes you have to go through a transformation. It's like, think about the phoenix. He has to rise out of the ashes. So, before we really get into that experience, each one of the people that thought leaders or transformational speakers or top business people, they all had to go first through ashes to rebirth themselves, to refine their passion and their purpose in life. So that happened with me. I'm sure it happened with you, Christian, and many people that are listening and watching. Is that yeah, fire is great to really get you to the next level, but it also means that you need to let go and release some of your old patterns, your old programs to do that.
Yeah, a lot of times old things need to fall away or be burnt away, in this case with fire,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that new things can arise from that. And what would you say, like you've worked across industries, across different generations, like you've mentored top, thought leaders and change makers. What is like a common energetic pattern you would
Mm.
say that you notice in their space or in their life that hinders their success? Like, or if there's, maybe you can classify, when you're a little bit, when you're there in your life, you're usually blocked by this, or when,
Yeah.
like, there's something that you, any patterns?
Yeah, I would say, and I've worked, as you said, with many people that have reached the level of success, but also a lot of people that are starting on that journey, right? And, when we look at feng shui, because feng shui means wind and water, it's all about flow of energy in your space. And I tell people, like, your home, your office should be reflecting not only who you are, but who you want to be in the future. Yeah. So that's why, in my latest book, Your Home is a Vision Board, I talk about that, how to set up your space and also your office to get to that next level. And one of the things is that I see sometimes people are holding on to where they have been, yeah, and they have like, perhaps they are starting a new career, or they're starting a new process, and they're literally, when you look at their space, it still connect with their old career. There can be
Mm.
still books, papers, images, everything from the old. And I always have to say to people, is this reflecting who you are right now? Perhaps now you start as a coach, not you start a new business. Is this still reflecting,
Mm.
what you really are? And then the question is, who do you want to be? Right? So where do you want to be? You want to be amongst the greatest in your field. Then make sure there are images or books or magazines that are in your space that tell you that's the level I want to be. Right? So that's the whole point. You need to understand that everything around you is a reflection of you. And so you can direct that reflection. Yeah. And so that's one of the things I most of the time have to tell people that are starting, is like, I come in your office and I have no idea who you are. I have no idea what you want to bring to the world. And it's like, it looks nice, but it's not personally enough, right? Sometimes with people that go to the next level, or they already are thought leaders, then sometimes I have to say, well, is this still what you want to be in the future? Like I remember Jack Canfield, he was one of the major top leaders also in The Secret, sold more than 150 million books with um, the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, right? And so he brought out, and that was a story 20 years ago, he brought out a new book called The Success Principles that became very successful over the last 20 years. And so it was interesting because everywhere around him, I saw the Chicken Soup for the Soul series and said, this is who you are right now, but this is not who you want to be. You want to be like being seen as the number one success mentor because you gathered all these principles, you practiced them. So we changed his office towards his new thing. Right? The old thing was still on there, but it's like the new thing. So he said, yeah, I want to be more a public speaker, not just the author. I want to be more considered to be on television, film, whatever, that direction, more mainstream in a way, right? Because he was one of the authors, but now he wanted to be like really him as the main mentor. So we changed things around. Like he had a few awards on that connect with that, so we would put that more focus for him. So when he walks into his office, it was more about what he could bring to the world, his own successes, to show that he is the author of the success principles. And it was interesting because a lot of his awards were actually hidden away, right?
Mm.
So I always say to people, like, if you have awards, if you have certifications for what you want to bring next, hang this around you, show that around you, right? Even if they're fake to start with. I mean, literally, I put a fake Oscar statue out, with my name on it, Marie Diamond, in 2001. And I put on my vision board, I'm going to be in a movie seen by millions of people that will transform the world. I mean, that was not there yet, right? But I put it out there in, visible for me. And then the first thing that happened, I started attracting Oscar winning clients. And the second thing I attracted was being in a movie called The Secret. So I already created a reflection of my future, even if it was not there.
Yeah, beautiful. I think that's something so easy and practical that anyone can implement, and it's so vital because everything around us is so energetic. Even if you look at this room, right? Like green, like I love tea, love pixel. That's like my agency. There's even like a picture of
Yeah.
Japan back there. Like I'm going to
Yeah.
Japan next month. I had that picture for 2 years, but
Amazing.
I'm so in love with tea that I'm actually going there to do a little documentary, sit with farmers, like it's interesting how I didn't think this was gonna, the whole tea thing is gonna, I'm gonna do a documentary, I'm gonna dive so deep into the topic. But like you said, it's like, I love it so much. I actually put a little map up there, hand drawn by an artist. And here we go. 2 years later, I'm going to Japan doing a documentary about tea. It's incredible.
It is, and this is actually how it works, right? So we can have our goals, we can have our mindset, we can do affirmations, we can do prayers, meditation, and that's all really important to do that. But a lot of times people don't know that, their home, their office, their space around them can actually up level them or can block them. So what you did by putting it there is each time you go in to sit on your desk, going into that space, your subconscious mind is reading what you've been placing around you. Yeah. So what happens is that your subconscious mind is like, oh, okay, I got it. I got it. I'll work on this. Right. So the universe around you is also reflecting back inside the universe within you. And so many times I put things out. I was like, oh, this is, I don't know why, but I put it there, right? I just hang something there. I remember many years ago, I thought, like, you know what? I would really love if my book would be published in a Russian language, right? So that kind of would be cool. And so I got myself literally to, or this, or like, um, the East European languages, right? Slavic countries, as they speak, Slavic languages. So I bought two little um, translation books, like easy read Russian and easy read Slavic languages. And I put that in a specific place in my what we call the success direction. um, and so I put it there. And the first thing that happened, within literally 7 days, I got a call from the government in Kazakhstan to come and speak for 3,000 women in Kazakhstan. I mean, they paid me a top fee, first class ticket, coming over. And I was working with some of the people in the government to support their government. And so, like, wow, where did that come from? Well, this is a Russian speaking country, right? And then they made sure my book was translated in Russian. And now I have many students in Russian, a language through platforms I'm working with. The second thing that happened was I was invited to speak in Prague with Czechia. And so, and for 3 years, as I was not in America at the time, I was in Europe. I was like traveling all over the Slavic countries to speak for thousands of people. But it's just like, I always say, give your home also or your office a permission that you want to continue with this. So it becomes like a three-dimensional vision board. So you put it there. It will be interesting to find out if that's your good directions. But even if it's not, it's just like you showing it around you. So if people want to really know where to place it, I would suggest download my free Marie Diamond app. You will put in your birthday and your birth gender. And based on that, you will actually be seeing and holding your compass. So let me show you. I will kind of show you as for people that are watching the video.
Yeah,
So
beautiful.
you will actually have to put in your birthday. So can I do yours, Christian?
Absolutely.
So what
So,
is your birthday? Your full
bir-
birthday?
birthday is June 16th,
Yes.
1991.
1991.
And
Okay,
you
and
would.
you are male. So it calculates. Yeah. So
Mm,
let's see what your energy number is. Your number nine, the healer. So your success direction is east. Yeah. So for you to connect in with the east of the world is, for example, Japan, right?
mm,
So
mm,
the ancient cultures, the Eastern cultures are very important for you. So you will see, you will then get this, and then when you download it, you will be able to you will literally get an overview. Now for me it says five because I'm a five, you're number nine. And
mhm,
so but what most important thing is you'll get a compass. And
mm.
so this is a compass, it moves as a compass. But what you
Wow.
will do, you will hold this compass in the center of your space. So the center of your office, the center of your living room, family room, bedroom, the places where you spend more than 3 to 5 hours a day. And there you will see what's in your success direction. So my success direction is behind me. So I don't see it all the time, but I come in and it's a subconscious message. I'm programming. It's like you're programming your home to support you. And
Mm.
so, in my success direction, of course, are my awards, are my books. There are little images and symbols that, for me, symbolizes success. So that would be interesting for you to find out in your space, right? Where did you hang your T image, right? But there's also relationship, health, and wisdom. There's some free videos, and you can subscribe for next level. So, but the whole point is that your home has a programming aspect to it. Yeah. And I always say to people, your home is there constantly, consistently. So if you put the wrong things around you, it will affect you constantly, consistently, perhaps with the wrong images. Yeah. But what if you place the right things around you? And so in my book, Your Home is a Vision Board, I guide you through the whole house to understand that, like, oh, is this who I am? Is this who I want to be? Is this reflecting my business? Like, let's say you have clutter everywhere, right? And you're in your office space and you're like, I'm procrastinating. I'm not concentrated. I don't get the right clients. What is going on? Well, it's possible that clutter is bringing your energy down, right? And it's hard for your mind to be focused and to be concentrated and have clarity. So, even if you don't know anything about feng shui, you can already reorganize your space. Yeah. And let go of the things that do not longer support you or are needed, or organize it so that you feel like, hey, my home, my office is my virtual headquarters for the universe. Yeah. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people work from home, Christian. And I'm not saying, yes, if I come in, it doesn't look like the headquarters of your company. Yeah. So it's perhaps you don't go to an office, but you're working from your dining room table, but next to your in your dining room table, next to your files are cups from that morning's breakfast and plates. I mean, to be honest, if you would go to a real office, that would not be there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we need to really upgrade, and these are techniques that are existing for thousands of years. So I said, I mean, it has proven itself. There are, you know, many millions of people that practice this work. And so they all have seen it's just setting things up differently and then continuing becoming aware of your surrounding if that is supporting you.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I think again, it's so powerful what we place around us, and just like you said, it's always a subconscious imprint in our
Yeah,
mind, and people underestimate how powerful the subconscious is. It's like, oh
it
yeah,
is.
it's
Yeah,
there, but it's like 20%. No, it's like 90, 80. You know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned, that we're entering a fire cycle, that is marked by rapid transformation. So is there any like specific colors or directions or elements that are supporting us during that time? Because I can see, for example, that maybe having water around, even though it's a fire cycle, might be good to, like, cool people off and be like, stay in center. Or
Yeah.
do you have any like tips in that
Well,
regard?
in feng shui, we work with five elements. So we have fire, water, earth, metal, and wood. So, as fire, we don't want to put too much fire symbols around us because that could be too much, right? But I would not suggest to do everywhere the color red, because the red is also for our subconscious mind an alert signal sometimes, right? So the best color to work with in the next 20 years is actually violet. Yeah.
Mhm.
So violet is a calmer, more transformational color of fire. So that could be something to place, for example, on your desk, and you can put it like as an amethyst. Yeah. So an amethyst symbol or an amethyst gemstone tree, or as a crystal, you can put it there. So it doesn't have to be that there's fire there. It can be just a color that surrounds you. Now, in order to stimulate gently the fire, the passion within us and in our field, we need to add wood. So, this will be an important year also to focus on nature. So, bring some nature into your space. So, it could be plants that you're, even if you cannot do real plants and you only can do fake plants, at least your visual is that you have some plants there. But make sure to have plants that are not spiky. yeah, that have not a spiky leaf, but round or oval or blossoming energy, right? So, like an orchid, for example, is a really positive symbol to put around you. And so, as you place that there, the best place for it, because the element of fire is connect with the compass direction, is the south. So, it would be good to put something in violet and a plant. Doesn't have to be a big plant, a smaller plant is more than sufficient to put it in the south area of your office. So you will bring in the fire, you will stimulate the fire. So now we always want to make sure the five elements are in place. So we want something in gold or gold looking or metal looking. So, for example, adding something gold looking on your desk, it can be a pot of gold where you put all coins in it, shows cash flow is always there. You can also put something, a crystal you already perhaps have with an amethyst. You can also put something from water. And every year the water changes. The water flow changes every year. So this year in 2025, to get a lot of good water element, and water always brings new beginnings, new opportunities, brings out always new clients, new cash flow, new income streams. The best place for you to put it this year is 2025 is actually in the southeast of your office or your living room. You don't place it in your bedroom because water is not a good element for the sleep and the romantic level. So if you want to know for the next years in the book Your Home is a Vision Board, I put it out where in the next 10 years you need to place it. Yeah. So the water always needs to move. Yeah, that
Mm,
is part of always getting the right flow.
interesting. Yeah, that's beautiful. I didn't know that the water is like supposed to move in the house. That's really
Yeah.
nice. And what would you say is with like how can entrepreneurs like yourself, like how can they co-create with the global energies, like especially during this period of fire, like how can they use that to like maybe hone in on a certain direction, or like maybe do first an internal audit and then go more in that direction, or like what is something, how can they
Yeah.
use these energies to like double down on a certain direction?
Well, I first of all would suggest that entrepreneurs would keep up with their passion and their goals. So, because sometimes you set up goals for this year or for the next 3 to 5 years, but remember, as we are in a fire element uh, cycle, things change fast, right?
Mm.
So, just see, we have that fast speed energy that just came in, just really the year before the fire cycle started with the AI, right? So artificial intelligence is speed because fire stands for speed. Yeah. So you need to speed up your uh, your structures. You need to speed up the way you do business. So, but speed also means make it more effortless. Yeah. So that what do you need to do? And perhaps you have set some goals that you say, like, in 3 years, I'm going to get this goal. Perhaps with AI and all the new tools and the new possibilities out there, you could actually reach that in a year. Yeah. So I've seen that even in my own field, things I wanted to accomplish that I like put in like 3 years, they were done in a year. Yeah. So there's a speed of vibration. So I want the entrepreneurs to look at their goals, look at their vision, and don't be afraid to implement all the new tools. Yeah, because the famous saying is, you will not be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by somebody that knows AI, right?
Mm.
So, like, I even myself, I'm 62. The last year and a half, I've been really studying AI, implementing it everywhere I could into my business, where we have seen, both marketing, both structure wise, publishing wise, that we can go to a next level with that. So don't be afraid of it. I always say, when a woman that is above 60 is not afraid of it, I think nobody should be afraid of it. Right. So, but that's the whole fire. You need to stay passionate and stay in tune with the rapid transformation that is happening right now. And that is sometimes challenging, right? So, for people, definitely for a lot of entrepreneurs. So, I would say for you, at least, look at what you need to clear, what you need to let go of, and definitely activate your success direction. Yeah. So, for example, I have to just be in connection with that. I have the latest book on AI in my success direction to tell my subconscious I'm okay with it. Yeah. So just you don't need to get an AI certification. Perhaps you attract people that know how to do all this, right? But you need to be open to it. Yeah. Because entrepreneurs worldwide need to understand you need to stay an eternal student of life, and you need to stay an eternal student of success. So if you don't have a coach or a mentor, read the books of the great ones on biography, their biographies, read the books on success and wealth management. I mean, that's still something I do every week, every month. I'm tapping into what is there at this moment. And if you don't like to read, there are amazing podcasts like yours, Christian, that just help people that, or perhaps entrepreneurs that want to really bring that positive impact of their spirituality, or that are doing spiritual entrepreneurship like I'm a spiritual entrepreneur, right? So how to create a global empire with that while still practicing all your spirituality and still be an amazing entrepreneur at the same time. So you need to learn, so you need to be open and listen to the ones that have walked before you, or the ones that have got new insights and new information. So entrepreneurs that are not studying, right? And you can say, I don't have time. I mean, you're in the car, you can listen to a podcast, right? So you can, there's always time. You need to make time, by the way, to do this. That should be part of your entrepreneur's journey. It needs to be part of your agenda. I put in my agenda time to study. Yeah. So every week I take 2 hours of my time to study certain things. And am I busy? I'm super busy. I have a big team, right? But if I am not knowing what is living, I don't need to know it perfectly, because for the people that will implement it, I will hire people for that. But I need to know their language. I need to be able to at least understand what is living, what is working, what is moving forward in my business. So that is part of what I have learned, is to keep being a student of business, stay a student of your spirituality for sure, keep practicing your meditations or your modalities. Both have to be in place.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think, when you start as a spiritual entrepreneur, which a lot of people, I think, are desiring if they haven't gotten to that yet, because it is kind of a combination of the divine masculine and divine feminine, right? So it's like you're
Yes.
really
Yeah.
living your dharma, because this is you're living in your highest truth, right?
Mhm.
You're not just here to be, like an execution or a machine or a man, and you're also
Yeah.
not here just to be like a sounding board or a receptive feminine. No, it's like bring those together in your life and as a person, and you will find that life is so diverse and full of facets, and you can be this and be that the next hour, or the next day.
Yeah.
So I think that for me is one of the biggest things of being a spiritual entrepreneur. It's like very I don't have to put on a mask. I can just be who I am in my
Yes.
fullest expression, bringing my
Correct.
gift to the world, and people will feel that. They will be drawn to that energy, resonate, and then potentially engage in a service or whatever else it is. Because again, same
I
thing.
totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree, because we're standing as the fire comes forward. It says actually you need to live in purpose, right? So, but it also means that you need to become that balanced leader. So that both you need to have that male aspect of leadership, and entrepreneurs are always considered leaders in their field, and you need to have that female aspect to it. And the male aspect is the logistics, the structure that you need to create, the formats, and so on. But the female aspect is to live with your intuition, to live from your heart. When I do this work, I'm totally living with my heart in this. I'm totally passionate about what I bring. And I do remember many years ago when I started, and I was 31 at that time, and I was like, okay, it's time for me to bring forward my work and teach people meditation and later on feng shui. That everybody in my industry at that time, it was not even called industry, right? So it was just like people that would do similar things like me. They said you have to have a nonprofit organization. And I meditated about it, and I was like, why would I have a nonprofit organization, right? If I want to attract business people and business leaders, they won't really like that because, I mean, literally, you cannot put an invoice in, they can't use it as an expense from a nonprofit at that time. That perhaps that now has changed, but not at that time, and I'm from background a lawyer. So I studied law and studied criminology. I worked for more than 5 years for the international law organizations. So, from that perspective, I'm very structured, very analytic, right? And so, for me, it didn't make sense to do a nonprofit organization. And so, what I created was a business. I set up a business, and everybody in my field was like, Marie, you cannot do that. Spirituality is not connected with business.
Mm.
And I was like, well, actually, they gave me another solution. They said, well, you know what? You can just go on sick leave because in Europe, Social Security is well organized and just do your spiritual work, but be on sick leave. And I'm like, what language, what message do I send? I'm spiritual and I'm sick. It's like, that
Yes.
didn't work. So I was one of the first people in my field, in my country, that set up a business. And they were very upset with that. They were like, Marie, you cannot be spiritual and teach meditation and run a business. And I proved them wrong because many of them now have a business, right? Because it was like, this is the way forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was in my country, probably the first spiritualpreneur um, in my field because nobody was doing that. And it was because it thought it was more structured, it was more open. So when there's an audit, it's very clear. You have a business, right? Why nonprofits could, were not so open and so clear. And for me, that was like always a way forward. But because of it, I attracted a lot of entrepreneurs. I attract a lot of leaders in their field that wanted to work with me because I was an entrepreneur. Yeah. And I was speaking for a lot of entrepreneurs organizations. And when I was working and consulting, quite quickly, top leaders and CEOs of 500 Fortune companies, it was because I had a company and not because I had a nonprofit. Yeah. So that really shifted a lot. And even today, when I work with people, the fact that I am an entrepreneur and that I have created a global empire, that I have millions of students, it sets up the bar differently for top people to work with me. And I've seen this for the last 30 years. I've always attracted top speakers, top leaders in their field because they understand that I can understand their life better because I'm not just spiritual and a spiritual teacher and a feng shui master. I'm also an entrepreneur.
Mm, exactly. And I think it's very you like the prime example of a spiritualpreneur because even though all the environment like wasn't set up for it, and like everybody told you to do something different, and back then like the system and just like the mindset was completely different, right? But you said, no, I have this gift of intuition and all my spiritual gifts that I want to bring in a masculine container to the world in balance, right? Because again, nonprofit, what's the setup behind that? You do it to not have a profit, it's like kind of like
I know, right?
always ways to
It's in
work
the
around it.
language, right?
But it's the subconscious language around it too. It's like, no, I'm building a profitable business from my gifts, and there's nothing wrong about it.
Yeah. And it
Wow.
was very interesting because, then they had a lot of volunteers working for them. And for me, it was like, no, I want to pay these people. I don't want them to be volunteering for me. I want them to really get some income and help them. And it's one of the things I'm so happy for, that I have a team. People get paid, it's all transparent on that level. And they can, they're all happy because in a way they're I don't have employees. I just have people being paid as consultants, but they're on my team. And so, I mean, they're spiritual entrepreneurs in a way themselves also, right?
Yeah.
So you pass that on. But I know a lot of people, and I had the same issue in the beginning. As an entrepreneur, what do you ask? What is like really reflecting your value, like money wise, right? I remember when I started, like literally, I would ask people, "Oh, give whatever you feel is right," because I was like the nonprofit energy, right? And I had no example of that, right? And then one day, somebody gave me a package of coffee beans, right, as a payment. And I'm allergic to coffee, so I was like, I am not even getting paid. My husband gets the coffee. And I was so upset with that I said, from now on, I'm asking this amount of money. If they don't want to pay it, that's fine. Then I'm not doing this. And so I said to them, from this moment on, this is what you pay. And people are like, yeah, of course. You have create so much value for me. So, but it was very interesting. I had to really go through like, what is my value? And it's a lot of people that are spiritual entrepreneurs have a hard time with that, because they're still thinking, I do the spiritual work and I'm like more related with priests from ancient times, right? That people would go to a priest in ancient times to get guidance and so on. And I say to people and remind them, you have to understand, in Europe, right, is that priests of especially in the French speaking countries, um, every priest from whatever religion, they get paid a monthly payment from the government. It's not their church that pays them, it's the government that pays them. If you're a rabbi, or if you're a priest from a Catholic church, or you're whatever it is, every religion has their own priest. They actually get monthly a payment, for what they do. And I'm like, so what's the problem? They're getting paid, and you couldn't get paid. Yeah, you don't
Mm.
have a value. Yeah, and depending on the rank of your church, if you're a bishop, you get better paid, and if you're archbishop, you get better paid. But it's all paid by the government. Yeah, they set it up this way. And it's like, what would be the problem? They get a value and you don't. And you
Yeah.
do your work in a beautiful way. Not that I can compare you with a priest, but the whole point is, you have studied for it, you have certified for it, you have put money towards all this studies with your teachers and mentors and coaches. You have to understand that there's a value of your mastery in your field, and
Yeah.
that needs to be revalued. But you have to understand, you need to be okay with that value. And it's like any other product. If you buy, I don't know, water right now, like the value of water has gone up since I grew up, right? So like, think about, sometimes you pay $5 6 for a bottle of water because the value of water has gone up. Yeah. So when I started, I don't know, it was like $0.10 or something in my life, right? So, but the whole point is, the more you are moving forward and practicing, and you showing up and having results with your clients, you can actually change your value, and but accept that you're valuable, and
Mm.
that as an entrepreneur, you need to show that in your price. Don't
Yeah.
overrate yourself, but don't underrate yourself either.
Very true. Yeah, the learning that lesson of worth and what you can charge and that you feel worthy charging that is a big one. And sometimes, a lot of times, it just happens either by like a negative example, like that was totally not what I expected, or in another way of like, I'm experimenting, I'm just gonna put it out there because, and then it works, and you're like, oh, okay, great, I'm
Yeah,
worth that. It's
yeah.
like that's fantastic. Um, so yeah, we're coming towards the end of the episode, and I want to ask you, two, three more questions.
Okay.
And I want to shift gears a little bit towards more like, legacy and impact of
Okay.
your global empire. So with over 2 million students and decades of wisdom in this space, like what's the legacy you most want to leave behind for the next generation of spiritual leaders?
Well, that's really, I saw that question. I was like, oh, an interesting question. So I think what I would leave as legacy, well, first of all, I'm here to really bring forward feng shui in a mainstream level. So feng shui is an Asian system. I'm a guest in that culture. I am from Belgium, but I'm so passionate about, I want the Western world to know about what an amazing effect they can do with bringing feng shui in their home and their offices. So that would be a great legacy for me if I could leave that behind, that this ancient system can be practiced worldwide. And I see this happening through my own students. But that will become mainstream. That's my focus for the next 20 years, and that's why I have a TV show. I have, I speak at many platforms to make it more mainstream. So that would be an amazing legacy if later on they would say, well, that person brought mainstream feng shui. So that would be really beautiful. I think another aspect is that, as I'm part of the secret, there are, and the secret started a whole movement, started a whole legacy of manifestation. I know I will be probably later on named as one of the people that started that movement. And I think that's a beautiful legacy because it has changed so many people's lives. The secret alone has been seen by more than 500 million people. Some people think a billion people have been in contact with that information, or other people that share that information worldwide in whatever form or modality. So I think that is definitely a part of my legacy, and I would love to see that happening. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and just by the fact that you're speaking that it's already coming. You know what I mean? It's
it
like
is, right.
you did so much already for the West in Feng Shui, and in a way, like what came in my head or in my mind while you were talking was like kind of one of the same thing for tea. Like I wish America would have way more tea in their lives,
Oh
because tea is
yes,
incredible.
I am a big tea drinker, as I don't drink coffee at all, right? So, yeah, so tea is next to water my major drink. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Just a quick excursion on tea. Like tea for me is like it feels like it has like this balance of divine masculine and feminine again, versus
it
coffee is just
is.
this yang, just like let's go to war. Versus tea is a
Yeah.
little bit more like
It
let's
is.
stop going
But
to
it's a
war.
whole ritual, right? It's such a calming vibration, right? So because when you drink coffee, it's like to get going, right? It's like to
Yeah,
stay on top of your game, right? Well, tea is like, oh, can I have a cup of tea? Just saying that, right?
yeah.
If you say, give me a coffee, like right, just
No,
like give me a cup of tea. Like immediately you're calming down just by saying it.
yeah, totally different energy. 100% agree. Okay, beautiful. And then last question: if someone listening today could change like one thing, could only change one thing in their environment to create a ripple effect in their business or life for this year, like what would be your recommendation for them?
Well, what I would suggest is one of the major principles we talk about is the power position, is to make sure you're always sitting yourself up so you can see the door, the incoming door of the space you're sitting in. So as entrepreneurs, like I'm sitting here now, you're not here physically, but on the other side of my desk is a chair for you. I see you're able to come in. I see the door. So every place you're going to meet people, set yourself up for a power position. Never sit with your back to the door. Never sit with your back to the space that you're in, because you're literally closing off the vibration. You're closing off the flow. You don't see what the universe is bringing you. So especially if you then also sit with your desk against the wall or against the window, you're like, well, I would love to see what is outside in the window, but that's not your clients, right? So if you're sitting against a wall, you're literally hitting a wall. There's nobody that can sit on the other side of your desk. So you actually are closing off your impact. So when you sit yourself up, that you have a high back chair armrest, you're like the queen, the king in your space. You see the people coming in, there's a space on the other side of your desk. You're actually are setting you up for success and leadership.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I think everyone listening, download Marie's app. I think is super helpful. Her book just came out recently, so make sure you get that. And where else would you like people to direct? Where can people find you?
Yeah,
What?
I would definitely like them to go to my Instagram, my YouTube, and my TikTok. Mary Diamond Official is the name, where they see every week they will get three, four new videos and new aspects, and millions of people are watching them. So that will be very helpful to just get going. It's just like little small steps, but we know one small step can be a great step for humanity.
Very true. Thank you so much for being on the show, Marie. It's been a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much, Christian. It was lovely being with you here. And thank you for what you do for the world.
Thank you.